All right, y'all. Rick's about the morning show. With spent this story this morning. We had two identical twins down in South Florida to drown, and everybody's sad about that. I shared it on my social media, and for years we've been on this morning show talking about getting folks to learn how to swim. I personally probably taught 200 people how to swim. Or whatever. So swimming is important, and just getting over the fear. Right. A lot of folks don't know how to swim because their uncle or their big brother, older brother, threw them in the deep end of the pool, and they are traumatized now. And we also want to say that don't throw nobody in the deep end of the pool like that's going to teach you how. No, it's not, because some people learn how to swim from that, but some people don't. And they get traumatized, and they never learn how to swim. Yeah. Swimming is important. Every year in the United States, an estimated 4,000 people drown. 4,000 people drown. That's an average of 11 drowning deaths per day. Worldwide, over 320,000 people drown every year. So a lot of these are preventable. So we got to start making sure our loved ones not only know how to swim, but understand the necessary safety precautions around the pool, like lakes and oceans. So this is from the SWEM SwemSchool. Y'all welcome to the Rick Smiley Morning Show, Trish Miller. Trish, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Rickey?
Trish, I'm glad you came on this morning because I've been arguing about this for years, like crying out. When I got a pool, I had dreamed that my youngest son had drowned. And so my goal is when they 2 years old, them little floaties, getting them in the water, getting them comfortable, and teaching them as much as I can, just in case, at least where they can go underwater and swim to the side and get themselves safe. So now you started your campaign because as a teenager, you actually had a near drowning experience. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's so true. When I was 19, I grew up in Virginia, grew up near the ocean front. Similar story to what you were just saying before. I have two older brothers. My father taught them how to swim by throwing them in the lake. I'm the baby only girl, so they didn't do that to me, thankfully. But as a result, I never had any experience in the water. So I went on a college trip with some girlfriends. They were I'm going to air quoting, teach me how to swim, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I jumped into 12 feet of water, didn't know how to float, didn't know how to tread. And thankfully, they weren't too far off of the pool platform to jump in and get me. But you mentioned a key word just in the opening there about trauma. It planted a seed of trauma in me that took decades for me to get over and for me to really understand my relationship with the water and to celebrate my own first lap. So you've already said a lot of things. That definitely was the catalyst to the work that I do now, making sure that people that look like me, that look like us, have a very different experience in the water.
Right. Now, why is learning how to swim so important for Black families? I said, why is learning how to swim so important for Black families?
Well, shoot, the statistics that you just read, those statistics that affect Black families, in many cases, double, triple that. Nearly 70% of Black children don't know how to swim. And we can just rest on that right there.
What?
Nearly 70% of Black children do not know how to swim. Learning how to swim is a skill that's not a leisure. We'll do it whenever we get to it. It really should be looked at, especially by Black families, as something that we have to do. You mentioned the age of 2. That is a good starting point. We actually start children as young as 4 months old in our waters with parent and tot classes, where they're starting to become familiar with the environment, knowing how to enter, knowing how to exit, knowing that mom and dad or guardian needs to be close when they're in the water. So I would say get your children in the water as soon as possible so that they start to be familiar with the do's and don'ts of the space.
That's good stuff. And Trish, I love that you talked about your relationship with the water, because swimming is more than, survival. Can you talk a little bit about that? And also, what does it really mean to know how to swim? Does it mean flapping your legs in the water? Like, what does it mean? What are some benchmarks?
So we are, the work that we do is beautiful. And typically when people think about swimming, you don't think about the spirituality piece of it. And that's why I speak about the relationship with the water. We all came from the water. We had, unfortunately, a checkered past with the water, with voyages, with segregation, with all of these other things that have made us as a community think differently about these. But what has to change really is our relationship with the space. And when we do the work that we do, that is our first focus, is to welcome people back to a space that they came from, to rekindle, reconnect that relationship with the water. So we're not just in there teaching people how to float. We're not just in there teaching people how to kick and move their arms. We're teaching them first to reverence the space. And then when reverencing that space, that skill comes and that respect for the space. A quarter of our work are with adult swimmers, because I learned as an adult. I spoke about that 19-year-old experience, but I actually did not celebrate my first lap until I was in my 40s.
Wow.
And we have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say everybody need to avoid blue swimsuits, blue bathing suits and blue swimsuits. Janai, somebody, you saw a little girl at the bottom of a swimming pool at a swim party. You had to jump in.
Yeah, about 20 years ago, I was on vacation with my kids, and we were at a hotel, and there was a church conference going on. And when I went to the pool to get my son out of the pool, I looked at the bottom of the deep end, and there was a little girl laying in the fetal position. Now, there's over 100 people around the pool, and you know how you're just looking like this can't be real. So when I dived in fully dressed to get her, now everybody starts running. Thank God there was a doctor there, and I literally pulled her out of the pool, and I handed her to a doctor. But the woman who was having this birthday party for children could not swim. She was standing on the side of this pool, literally screaming at the top of her lungs.
And the thing about that is, if you having a party and you can't swim, you need to have one of those extended things with that hook on there, like they have at the public pool, that you can pull the child out. And explain to us stuff like that, and about the blue, why. Let everybody know why not a blue bathing suit for kids or adults.
Yeah. For anyone, you can't see. I mean, it literally is just that the water is blue, and the reflection from that water makes it difficult to see that person in the water. But another part that you brought up, if you have a pool in your backyard, you need to know how to swim, first off.
Period.
And if you're going to have period. And if you have a party, you need to have a lifeguard. People don't understand the importance of having a water watcher that is there. That only job is to make sure that people are safe in and around the water. So if you're going to have a party, the next expense you need to consider is hiring a lifeguard to protect your waters and make sure it's safe.
And then, Janai, I was going to say, everybody that have a pool, you need to have you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, or you can order on Amazon, no lifeguard on duty sign on your gate to the pool, for liability purposes, because people need to know, because somebody kid drowned in your pool or whatever, they can sue you, because that's a liability. Absolutely. So you need to have that sign on there and take pictures of the sign, or make everybody sign some kind of release or something or whatever, because freak accidents happen. But we got to get these kids, like my granddaughter is 3 years old. We don't go out that back door unless she got those little floaties on her arm, even if she's playing in the backyard. Right? I make her wear the floaties. It's the floaties with the little thing that go around the chest. So go in the backyard, but put this on in case I'm in there washing dishes and she wander over there by the pool or whatever and fall in the pool, because she's real curious. She's obsessed with, she jump over in that water. She's floating. She know how to kick to get back to the side. This is so important. We're talking to Miss Trish Miller. So how can our listening family support families who want to learn how to swim, and what should we do if we want to learn? And then I want you to let people know how to follow you.
Yeah, so I want to go back to, what does it mean to learn how to swim, or to know how to swim? The American Red Cross says you know how to swim if you can jump into deep water where your feet cannot touch. You can do a full 360, and you can swim to the nearest exit. You can actually navigate your body to the nearest exit. Doesn't have to be the prettiest stroke. Doesn't have to be any of those things. But that is what knowing how to swim means. Deep water. Feet can't touch, 6 feet and above. We would love for people to support this work. Our first challenge is to ask people in your family, you and yourself, you included, do you know how to swim? Can you do those things that I just mentioned? If the answer is no, we're based in Atlanta, Georgia. We would love to show you how to swim and reintroduce you to the freedom of swimming. However, if you're not here in Atlanta, please get to the nearest and closest swim school and learn as soon as possible. We would love for people to follow our work. You can follow us on Instagram at SwemSchool.com. Well, SwemSchool, SWEM School, or Swim Kids, which is our scholarship, SwemKids.